Dad bod or six pack?
6-pack.
Dad bods on weekdays.
Six pack on weekends. You're one of the special ones.
I do it in my sleep. Am I weird?
Should we start off with trying a gelato?
Yes, for sure. Recording, right?
Yes.
So which is favorite ever have? Which is the flavor? This is the flavor, right?
This is the TUG X McCallum.
Right, and this is like
Maybe.
the other.
Nah.
We'll talk about the other stuff eventually.
Okay.
But why don't we start off?
Yeah.
With, sorry, Hailey. In this first. You get an intro.
So what's this?
This is sweet potato coffee gelato. The reason why we make
See the look on your face. That's the look on my face.
The reason why we make it pink is because it's International Women's Day. And then it's a collaboration with Mackello. So we wanted to use their beans in a more fun and interesting way.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing it.
Okay. Surprise.
Surprise.
Wow, I can smell the coffee.
Yeah. They're pretty strong.
How many
Let's try it.
rounds of like testing did you have to go through?
This is actually so far the most rounds we've gone through
Really?
for this flavor. Yeah, because to get a fine balance between sweet potato, vegetable, and coffee is like, yeah, you need to
Yeah.
really test it out.
So what's the average like when you're developing a new flavor? Normally, how many batches do you have to go through before you're like, oh,
Normally you go through one time.
really?
So I went through 3 times.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice. So you get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Most of the other time.
Most of the time. Yeah.
All right.
Shall we?
CL, for those that are not watching this video, can you describe what it looks like? All I feel is that, to me, okay, it's very smooth. Like it's super easy to scoop even with my plastic spoon right now. Okay, I guess taste test.
Can you test?
I don't know why the word gelato.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is it out of your expectation?
No.
Hang on, what else is in there?
It's just sweet potato. The
Okay.
purple one
And coffee.
and coffee.
Okay,
What else do you taste?
I don't know. It kind of feels like red bean-ish.
Oh,
That's the sweet potato starch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the starchy. Yeah, taste. All right.
I think this is as clean as it gets. I get like a whiff of coffee on the first thing, and I
The
think the sweet potato
aftertaste. Yeah.
aftertaste.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that the sweet potato actually works with caffeine.
Yeah. We are surprised too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just thinking about the color. Like,
Yeah.
we need to make it pink somehow.
Right.
Can you imagine that's the next thing that we're going to be tasting out of coffee? It's people mixing sweet potato milk.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it works. It's like soybean milk. I think it's about kind of the same.
Yeah. Almost the same.
Yeah.
Do you guys actually like soy milk?
Yeah. You
I
don't?
love it.
Weird to me.
Why?
I don't know. It's not the same as like normal milk.
Because you're expecting milk. I'm expecting juice.
Juice.
It's soybean juice.
I guess so. It's kind of like almond milk. Like I've had. I don't mind almond milk itself. Mixed with something else where I really can't taste it. But I think when you get to the point, like with coffee, then it's a very different taste already.
We're gonna get to the rest of the flavors as well, I hope. But the rest of the other flavors are also unique.
Yeah.
Are we actually going to demolish this in one sitting?
I don't know. I will.
Okay.
It will not last half an hour.
Very
We
true.
have to finish it by then.
Wait, should we intro properly though?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. My God. Completely forgot about our
We
guest.
ran straight to the ice cream. Forgot about the guest.
Title is more attractive.
All right. So on this episode of the podcast, we actually have a very special guest. Why did we do it, Phil?
Hailey, welcome to the show. We're doing it because it's International Women's Day, and we just did a collaboration between TUG unusual greens, and McCallum coffee.
Some brand. Yes, that's it.
So we have Hailey with us here today. Not so much to talk about gelatos. Obviously, we are going to talk about gelato, but maybe more interestingly is her journey as a young entrepreneur.
Okay.
I think that's really what I want to. Why
Fair enough.
the random things that you've seen,
Okay.
challenges, and basically just get to know you.
So in like one line, if you met someone on the elevator, what would you normally pitch yourself as? Make pitch is the wrong word. I would then introduce yourself in your business. Very, very quickly. Hi, I'm Hailey. I make ice creams.
Yeah. Basically that. Yeah. I make gelato. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good intro.
Yeah. Because if you really want to go down to talking about sustainability in the elevator, I don't think people is gonna listen to you.
The good thing
Not
is-
everyone would understand it.
The good thing is we are not in an elevator.
Yeah.
And I do think the story of unusual greens is actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I told you about it, but I think we should share a little bit more about why unusual greens and how the vegetables became
Yeah.
gelato.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the Unusual Greens is a gelato brand that turns ugly fruits into gelato to reduce food wastage. Yeah, the reason why I want to start it is because I want to advocate on reducing food waste, especially when the country's inequality gap is super huge, where people are literally starving on the streets. And here we are wasting food that doesn't look good.
Just because
Just because it doesn't look good. So this is sort of like a brand to advocate the young generation that we shouldn't judge food based on their looks.
And then I think just to add in there, right? I think when you say that food that doesn't look good, it doesn't mean bad fruits.
Yeah, it doesn't mean bad fruit. So a typical example that I would give whenever I explain to others is apples. Whenever you choose apples, right, your fingernails would scratch their surface. It's totally understandable and normal. But the sellers would just throw it away because it just doesn't look good.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone else's fingernails
Yeah.
print is on it.
Yeah.
Is this from the farmer side?
No, this is normally close to the retail side, to the consumer side.
So they actually chuck the fruit out.
Because they know no one's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
So those are the fruits that gets
Discarded. They get rejected. Yeah. Rejected. Yeah, because they would first move it to the so-called, the lelong section, which is the wholesale price section. But I would say 70 to 80% of the time, nobody would buy it because of our perception on how food should look like.
for sure.
So they would just get thrown away. Yeah.
And by turning them into gelato, so you're buying those fruits
Yeah, I'm buying those fruits, but then at a cheaper cost.
that would have otherwise gone to
Wait.
animal feed
Yeah, animal feed.
and
yeah,
like
exactly.
lesser value
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
And instead of going that direction, you're taking them on another direction and say, hey, let's add value to that fruit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. What's the typical ingredient in that range? The usual uglies, the usual unusuals.
The usual unusual. The usual unusual. Okay. Avocado, banana, mango. We do have grapes.
What's an ugly avocado?
Okay.
They're already wrinkled.
Okay. Avocados is not exactly ugly, but then sometimes their sizes just doesn't make sense. So, they have like fixed sizes in the carton. So whenever avocado is too big or too small, they'll get... Yeah, it doesn't fit exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And also surplus fruits, we normally save them and also turn them to gelatos.
Right.
Yeah.
So same goes for bananas because they dropped out
Banana.
bunch.
Bananas is slightly more common. Actually, the most common fruit that gets disposed in the industry because
It's cheap.
they are easily spotted. So
Right.
whenever they are exposed to great sunlight, they will get like those dark little spots that you don't like to see. But then actually they yield a better flavor and texture. I mean, people that bakes banana cake
I used to
know
make with
that.
black bananas.
Yeah, exactly. And there are breeds of fruits that just normally goes black. But then inside, when you peel it, it's just normal.
Right.
So I would say consumers' education on how like agriculture and how food should normally look like is also really important.
Right. Would you buy a spotted banana next to a non-spotted banana?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I mean, maybe coming from like a nutrition background, I'll say like there are some benefits of having like spotted, in your banana. But that's me being a nerd. But yeah, I might buy it and freeze it because I use it for like smoothies and whatnot. Right. But only for that reason. Other than that, maybe I'll keep it around for, like you said, right, to bake a banana bread.
Yes.
Right. So I think what I'm curious with, so we've kind of understand a little bit about the brand and all that. Right? What I'm interested in actually is what makes you want to turn it into a business. Because it's one thing to say, hey, let's buy these agos and like turn it into like gelatos, right?
Yeah.
That should be a tagline. But what makes you think like, hey, you know what? This should be a business.
I got to know about sustainability from a really small university competition.
Okay.
It's on they are pitching for food sustainability that year that I'm joining. So they want us to make the food industry a better place, a better space to make business at. And they asked us to inspect on what are flaws in the food industry. And to my surprise, nobody actually addressed the issue of food waste when it's the biggest problem. Because it seems so big that nobody dared to think out of the box, to think of a way
find
to
like a
solve
way.
it. Yeah. So initially, the business idea is not on gelatos at all.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not on gelatos at all. It's actually on making a meal replacement drink
Okay.
that would solve hunger.
Right.
Yeah, but at that point of time, I was 19. So I dare to think big, but I just know that my capacity and my capability, I wouldn't be able to carry out such huge project with the whatever $1 million funds, right? So that forced me to think within my capacity. Like, what can I do in front of me at my house during MCO?
And this is still when you were 19.
Yeah, that was still when I was 19. Yeah, so I thought about making juices, jams, but those just doesn't take, right? And then I stopped on ice cream because personally I love ice cream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Since young, I used to like just eat, those bottle ice cream
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
every day. Almost every day because my grandfather would buy like a box of potong just to stand by every month. Yeah.
No, because that still reminds me of Potong.
Yeah. So that actually made me into a ice cream lover. And I think the business model at that point in time perfectly makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, to turn it into something that everyone is familiar with and nobody will reject it no matter what's your age, no matter how young or how old you are, you won't hate ice creams, right?
So
So
came from a personal preference, but then ice cream very quickly turned into gelato, right? And I remember you were very passionate about this is not ice cream, this is gelato.
gelato, yeah.
What's the difference?
Okay, so initially it was ice cream, and then after that I moved towards I moved towards the direction of gelato because I feel like it's a more healthy dessert compared to ice cream. Ice cream is too typical. Like, do you know the difference between gelato and ice cream?
No.
Educate. No.
Like this is the episode where we are the dumb consumers.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the difference between gelato and ice cream is on its ingredients and texture and the way of doing it. So in terms of ingredients, for gelato, we don't use any cream. We just use milk. For the traditional Italians, they would use eggs and
Right.
all. Okay, so but we don't use eggs here. Okay, then when you beat cream, you beat air into it, right? Then you double in volume. So maybe the ice creams that you eat from Haagen-Dazs or Nestle, those are made of like real cream. So when you eat it, in texture, it's more airy. So basically, you're buying air.
Dumb
Yeah.
consumers.
You're buying air. So in terms of texture, it's not as dense as gelato. So you know, like every scoop that you scoop here is sticky, and that's how like gelato are supposed to be.
So this was a test. You mentioned Nestle's and Haagen-Dazs,
Yeah,
Baskin-Robbins.
Baskin-Robbins as well.
It's the same.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So if you want to do a quick experiment at home, you can just get like a Nestle ice cream from the mart, and then maybe you get a gelato cup, and then you place it side by side, let it melt. The gelato would still reduce to maybe 70%, and then the Nestle will become like 20-30%. Yeah, because of the biggest difference is in the amount of air.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, one's with cream and another one's with
Yeah, with more milk.
milk.
Yeah. And also in terms of making the gelato or making the ice creams, they are both different because we use like different kind of mechanisms in the machine.
Right. I think that's probably the most happy information I've received today, right? Because when I have a pint of ice cream, actually it's mostly air. So technically, I could have 3 pints.
That's the point.
Great.
Now you know you just need to have 1 pound of gelato.
Or 3 pints of ice cream.
So always choose gelato.
All right, so before we get into it anymore, should we try
Yeah, next flavor.
the next one?
What should we try next?
We have date caramel, dark chocolate, white chocolate chrysanthemum, and mango. Mango is our best out there.
Chrysanthemum?
Chrysanthemum is the W.
Oh, WC is not great. I haven't had a date in a while.
A bit active.
Mango. Chrysanthemum.
Mango.
Okay, mango.
I think mango is very good too.
Hmm.
Reminds me of like a mango sorbet
Yeah.
without the ice.
Without the ice. Yes.
What we're gonna do now is probably go through a bunch of like get to know you
You can.
questions.
And Roger said the start.
I'll go through. I'll go through it. Don't worry.
Okay.
So, what's your guilty pleasure? I don't know. Gelato.
Other than gelato.
Other than
To me, it kind of feels like a guilty pleasure, but maybe it's not.
nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, McNugget, chicken McNugget.
That's good.
Yeah, I would crave for nuggets at 2 a.m. in the morning. For no reason. yeah. Yeah.
So, like, if you go to McDonald's,
Yeah. I would definitely get a nugget.
it's always nuggets. Okay. That's interesting. What I go to is like McChicken.
Oh,
Really? No, I always get it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it guilty pleasure.
really?
I think it's a no.
Ice creams, I mean, me is sweet, anything sweet. Soft drinks, ice cream,
Really, that's your guilty pleasure. Anything sweet.
anything sweet. Sweets,
Sweet.
sweet tooth.
Okay.
You know how they say like you have a dessert stomach?
Yeah.
You have
A
that.
sweet stomach. Literally like I have a full meal.
Is that even a guilty pleasure anymore? Did you don't really have it then?
like
Part of it.
the satisfaction you get of it.
Okay.
Definitely pleasure.
Right, next one. What's the most useless thing that you bought? Oof.
Oh. Use it.
Clearly. Tough, right?
Tablet?
Now you're just looking through like everything in your drawer and closets.
Yeah.
It's like in your kitchen, like
It's either I'm a really minimalist, there's not really much in here, or like, everything's useless. So I really don't need any of this.
Okay, anything on top of my mind.
While you're thinking, what's yours?
Yeah.
Oh, good question. Yeah. I want to consider myself a minimalist, so I want to say everything is somewhat useful. I think the most useless thing would probably be what do you call it? Those camera ear digging thing.
Oh,
Right, so
right.
Digging with a camera on the end.
Right. For you to see what you
See what's going on in there.
Oh,
That's
I think that's part of the
you actually bought it. It's not like you actually bought it.
No, I just went on to like, Shopee and was like, oh, let me see if I can actually buy one of these. It's like, it's like you see it on like TikTok, right? Like all these like things like, oh, I want to explore.
What's in my ear?
Yeah.
what?
So that's probably the most useful.
That's pretty useless.
That's literally, I've used it like once, and it's inside the closet somewhere. I don't really where, but it's there now.
Right. That's gonna be hard to beat.
That's very hard.
All right. Oh, if you can't think, I'll let you go for that one.
Yeah.
Gin choice.
Oh.
Alcoholic, not normal people drink. Alcoholic.
Wait, can you repeat your question?
Drink of choice.
Drink of
Go to drink.
Alcoholic.
And this episode is
Alcoholic
brought to you by. We done? This episode? Oh. We're still waiting for sponsor. This episode is brought to you by We're still waiting for sponsor.
I would say whiskey on the rock.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even I can't do that.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you put it there, I'll drink it.
Right.
But it's not my.
Wouldn't be your
Go
go-to.
to
It wouldn't be my go-to.
What would be your go-to?
Gin and tonic.
classic.
Right.
They say only cycles through gin, so there we are.
Really?
Psycho.
With tonic, so like less.
That's
less.
Just to make myself sweet too.
I love sweet, so old fashioned. Just for the sweet. That's in it.
Okay. All right, and let's bring you with another one. So this one is actually from our guest in here,
The crowd learners.
the crowd.
Oh, okay.
It was in the studio.
Okay.
Fans of the show.
Red flags on your first date,
What are some of the red flags
or maybe just in guys.
in general?
Back today.
Save you that awkwardness. What am I biting on? There's something very much here, right?
Cacao Nips.
Oh.
So like the husk of the chocolate. Like before it turns into chocolate, they actually remove these cacao nips.
Well, let me try that again.
Oh, it's like the shell, like the
Not the shell, but the inner, like the seed, something that wraps around.
around the seed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the concept behind white chocolate chrysanthemum, in case you're wondering where's the fruit,
Right.
is we are actually repurposing flowers, like dead flowers. So like,
Like
still alive.
chrysanthemums that would have been
Yeah.
discarded.
Yeah, I mean, when chrysanthemums dried out, nobody would actually repurpose it into a dish,
Right.
like some sort of food. So we wanted to break that stereotype. Yeah,
Can you do that with roses as well?
perhaps yeah, like infuse. I don't know, Thai milk tea rose.
Sorry, back to like the business side of things, right? I know we kind of just go all the way up.
Yeah, the business side gone.
So curious. Now that you're commercializing it, how do you know that these are all fruits that's gonna be discarded? Like when you as you scale and you're gonna like, hey, I need to restock this flavor. How do you know that these are all chrysanthemums that would have been discarded? Like, what if they're just giving you fresh chrysanthemums?
So from the business perspective, or like from the brand's perspective, what we do here is we save whatever that we can save, and also we do accept normal things that are of demand.
You
So
don't accept or do accept,
we do accept.
right?
So I mean, it's not sustainable in terms of business, right? If you only save like fruits that are gonna be thrown away, it doesn't make sense.
Not gonna have enough.
Yeah. So what we do is we are quite inclusive in terms of how we source our materials. For example, flowers that are gonna die, we're gonna get like fresh ones as well.
Right.
Or mango that has really high demand, and we save all the fruits that we can.
Right.
Then we will just get like the normal ones.
Right.
Yeah. The message is to just let people know that you can actually use this stuff. That you don't wear.
You can
Yeah.
do a part too. So
Yeah.
you pick up the fruits on the floor,
Yeah.
and then you pick the lowest hanging fruit.
Kind of. Yeah.
Right. And that entrepreneurship journey,
Yeah. I just feel like being a
young 19.
We know we're not meant to ask. I feel like I'm stepping on. And then what I say? We'll go with young. I'm assuming you're younger than us. Quite old farts, so. What is? Yes, Western Nikki. So, what does it feel like being young?
I would say rather than looking at the disadvantage of being young and inexperienced, I actually take it as an advantage for me to try new things because I have more time to spare to fail. To try and fail and send back up again and try again.
I like that.
Yeah.
So if you're 60-year-old, it's too late.
No.
Unless you're the Colonel.
Right,
Unless you're Mr. KFC.
unless you're Colonel Sanders. No, but I think that's a very good way to look into it, right? Like to see through it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you feel like that is used against you? Or do you think that people are more generally supportive now?
I would say a bit of both. When you go out there, you won't know what kind of people that you meet, right? Then when people hear your age for the first time ever, they either have two reactions. Huh?
Right.
Or, oh, really? Yeah, so the two sides. Yeah.
It balance, or do you see more of one reaction?
I would say generally it's more supportive.
Right.
Yeah. But then there are a few that would think like, oh, you're too young to know anything.
Right.
Can I really do business with you? Yeah.
Do you think gender plays a role in that? Because we get the same reactions too, right? Like, oh, really? You're consulting my company? Like, how old are you?
Yeah.
Do you think that the gender component then helps make it better for, like, does it make it easier for people to then be supportive? Or do you think that is like a double whammy, like, oh, young and then a woman?
Yeah. I think being a young female entrepreneur actually just gives the overall impression of, can she really do it?
Right.
Instead of, if you look at a young male entrepreneur, you'll be like, oh wow, so aspiring, and he's skyrocketing his dream.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do feel it's like a...
Yeah, there are a huge gap between both them.
How have you tried to overcome this, I guess, like deception, or even like how you've been internalized, or how have you tried to overcome this?
Just do what I want to do. Just do it.
This is God.
Do it.
I like that attitude.
Yeah.
It's good.
Just do it and you see it.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Actually, true. I think that's the right attitude to go with. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like if someone says you can't do it, just do it.
Yeah.
If you like, well done it.
It's the best way to say I can
Yeah.
show you.
Yeah. Not so much on words actually.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned about like how being young allows you to fail fast, fail often. That's a good thing, right? What's the most embarrassing failure?
Most embarrassing thing.
So far.
Oh,
Sorry.
ouch.
I would say fair. Not being able to maximize my efforts. Let's say I'm doing a marketing campaign, right? I didn't get to look at the big picture. I was so focused into doing the tiny details, or okay, I can do first step, second step, third step, but I don't look at what is it like together to see 10 steps together, like
Right.
the whole jigsaw puzzle, right? So I would say I failed pretty badly in some campaigns that I did in the past. I didn't get the results that I want, and yeah, definitely learned from it.
Right. So like being too myopic, like you started seeing
Yeah.
far along.
Yeah.
So so focus on like perfecting the product,
Yeah.
or like perfecting that one
Yeah.
image. Right. Oh, that's interesting. That's not embarrassing. I mean, I think that's just part of going through and
Part of
having,
it.
right?
Yeah, that's not good. We need round two. What's the most embarrassing?
Well, how do you define embarrassing?
You have to go to a meeting and you were still hungover and your hair was like sticking out.
And you presented the wrong deck with the wrong client. That sounds like someone's...
Does it happen before? or you have to run outside and, you know, vomit and then come back in and be like, okay, let's go.
This embarrassing thing.
Or moments. Maybe it doesn't have to be a failure. It could just most embarrassing moments.
I would say a bit intimate. Okay.
Ooh.
Is that
the same person?
Not gonna say. Yeah. I would say suffering through a bad breakup,
Right.
and I had to lie that I had an eye infection to not show up in work party to recover.
Right. So the eye part was kind of true. The infection part wasn't.
You good?
Oh yeah.
I think I definitely have. I think I've gone through the same thing. Your parents stomach ache, well, not a stomach bug, just stuck in the bed.
Not feeling well today.
I'm gonna take it to bed there. I'm gonna chuck a sickie, I'm gonna hide underneath my blanket.
So Scribble is officially removing two-way day before it even started because of Roger.
Oh, my heartbreak day.
No.
Yeah. Okay. As a business owner, like, what do you think? And being so young, do you think you've made any sacrifices to get to where you are now?
I would say it's normal to sacrifice for your business in terms of time, energy, effort. Yeah.
Compared to, like, let's just say the person working with you on the best.
Your peers,
Your
or
peers.
people your age.
A lot of sacrifice. So when people are out there celebrating their exams, I'm in the office until 5 a.m. in the morning trying to think through how to make this campaign work.
Right.
I would say that's the most realistic comparison I can make. Yeah.
Right. So your friends are out there partying.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Partying and clubbing.
right.
I'm like, I know it's Friday, but I'm just gonna party in my office.
I was like, oh, I get more chrysanthemums. What's the next what's the next species that I'm gonna save?
Does it ever feel like, you know, like having your friends out partying, you kind of like just doing your own thing and, you know, trying to get the campaigns up, right? Does it ever feel lonely?
Also, I was gonna say the same thing here.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So what makes how do you get through that then?
I would say you would only feel lonely when you are like really too bored.
Right.
So you're so bored that you just feel like, oh my god, I'm alone again doing this stuff. But
drown.
I wouldn't say drown, but find the things that you find valuable to you. Like find valuable doing. So for example, like I'm really into branding and also all of the digital marketing stuff, or like even brainstorming marketing ideas. So those just make me forget about time.
Right.
So when you are really busy or you are really passionate about doing something that you really like, you wouldn't even have time to think about, oh my god, I'm so lonely for partying.
Do I have time to like snack?
Yeah.
So it's never felt like, for example, like you're sitting at a dinner table, like everyone's talking about, you know, their work, you know, and whatnot, but in terms of how you try to join in the conversation, it's going to be slightly different compared to everyone else that might be talking about their own work that may not be relatable. But I definitely felt that before, like trying to say something or like even tell them maybe one of my problems, but maybe they don't. Yeah. Ever had that?
Yeah, I mean, often I feel out of place. That's why I normally make friends in my industry. So like, yeah. So, yeah.
And I feel it too, right? Like imagine being like a dinner setting and like everyone is just complaining about their shitty boss and like but I'm a shitty boss.
Yeah, I totally get why your boss do that.
No, I get his point of view, right? Her point of view, like I don't get your point of view. You know?
I just picked.
But it's always like at that point, right? You kind of have to like, shit, I have to play on both sides now. As like the boss or manager, you kind of have to figure out like, how can I balance both sides, right? And is that always the case for you? Like, you are able to balance both being, okay, this is our business direction, but being able to still take care of your people.
Yeah. But I would say it's a constant challenge to find balance between, these two, to draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever hesitated to ask for help?
I like that.
As in,
Either being your age or just in your industry or your situation. Giving an example, for me, maybe my ego plays a part in a lot of decisions I make, so I tend not to ask for help.
Or you rather just slug through it than to maybe could have been like 5 minutes phone call.
Correct. Correct. I rather effort up myself.
learn it the hard way.
Yeah. Even though like someone's telling me like, look, this is gonna fail. This is not gonna work this way. For some reason, in my head, I'm challenging that. And then I don't, and I'm not gonna ask for help. I'm just gonna slug it out and just get it done. Has that ever?
I would say when I first started, yes, I was really hard-headed into my own little circle and box. I was just like, I'm just gonna make this work. Nobody can interfere to my business. But then it came to a point, I mean, we humans always would only change when we are at the tipping point of something, like breaking point of something. Or like you reach an all-time low, then you're like, okay, maybe I should change. Even though I'm not gonna move forward, right? Yeah. So eventually it came to a point whereby I feel like, oh, okay, I think an extra pair of hands can actually move this faster. So I would just actively reach out for help. Yeah.
Would you normally ask for help?
I wouldn't say I would stick to the same person to ask for help. I would just see whoever that relates to the problem that I'm having, then I'll just go to them. Yeah. So let's say I'm stuck in because initially before this podcast ever happened, I wanted to do a podcast that is on the same thing. And then I just went to people that are really good in, let's say, community management, like how do they talk to people, how do they engage a crowd. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I normally solve my issues. Go to the right
You're the
people.
best people. Something in this room that is extremely good to bang.
I have not found a worse podcast than this.
Okay.
I don't know why you're watching.
So it's this organized podcast. Where representatives are kind of for your point of
Not asking for help. Ego gets in the way.
what is the alcohol? True.
But we need to be a bit more progressive, a bit more forward as well, right? What do you think? Like, how do you think the industry being business in general, could evolve to better facilitate young female entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs in general? Maybe more so for you, young female entrepreneurs.
I would say giving more opportunities for like the younger generation to try out things. So, for example, if I weren't given a chance to try out that competition, I wouldn't be here, sitting here talking about my business.
Right.
So I think there should be more opportunities created for the young.
So the grassroots level, it doesn't have to be business in general. It's just more things at
Yeah.
the younger level.
Yes. We need more exposure to know what is out there. Right. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think if it wasn't because of my family, I don't think I would be in business as well. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's very typical, right? Your family's in business, so you kind of come towards, or like you studied business, and that's why you want to get into it, maybe.
And then a lot of people don't have the opportunity, not because they're not cut for it. It's because they were never exposed to it. They've never seen it.
Yeah.
Like, so
they don't know what it's like. Yeah.
That's just moving forward. What's next? What's next for TUG?
The next would be our first physical appearance in somewhere at the center of KL in a few months' time.
Right.
So this is still hush up.
Yeah, this is
Okay. So we still don't know where.
a little bit.
So why don't you say it anyway, and then he'll blip it post.
Okay.
And actually, once from now, we'll replay that unblipped version
3 months, few months from now.
when you launch.
Okay.
On the day that you launch, that's gonna be on Scribbles Reel,
All right.
and unblipped the version.
So it's going to be. Well, this is a long bleep out.
All the best. I think I'm really looking forward to it. I want to be one of the first few week, gonna be the first week
Yeah, you kind of
support
you.
for sure.
Try out ice cream. Gelatos.
Sensitive.
So, thanks so much for listening to this episode. Thanks so much, Hailey, for coming and joining us.
Inviting me.
It's been very, very fun. I think the viewership is gonna shoot up is because we are not boring for this one episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Felt
Fun.
fun.
And I do hope that you get to join us sometime in the future where we get to dig deeper in the branding side of like your passion on the business, right? The marketing side, the consumer side of things. And I think really would love to kind of dig deeper into the strategy side of the business as well. I think just to bring it back to
Would be really
Next week?
happy to be here.
yeah, for sure. Definitely would be back. For next week we talk about AI.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Artificial intelligence. So just to bring it back there. But thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't, like, subscribe, share,
Follow. Do
follow.
you want to drop your handles?
All
Yeah.
right. TUG, not Gelato.
It will be there. Roger will post to make sure that it's actually spelled correctly.
Okay. Until next time, see you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Obviously.